Welcome to Honeybee, real stories of love, lies, and betrayal, where every truth stings. Let's begin. My name is Brian, and when I told a woman I was only months away from marrying not to take a trip with her male best friend, she ignored my request, and I did the last thing she ever thought I would. It all began like any other promising love story. I met Margaret in my final year of business school. She was studying social work, passionate about helping people, and had this energy that seemed to draw everyone to her. We first crossed paths at a campus coffee shop, where she was typing away on her laptop. I'd noticed her before, always poised, confident, and focused, but never had the courage to start a conversation. That day, I finally went for it. She looked up and asked if I needed something, so I pretended I had a question about a made-up topic. She played along, answered, and somehow that fake question turned into a 3-hour conversation covering just about everything under the sun. By the time I walked out of that cafe, I knew I wanted to see her again. We began dating soon after, meeting up between classes and attending social events together. Margaret was unlike anyone I'd dated before, intelligent, compassionate, ambitious, and thoughtful. After graduation, fate seemed to be on our side when we both landed jobs in the same city. Within a year, we moved in together. For the first 2 years, things were mostly good, though some issues crept in. Margaret had this subtle way of making me feel guilty for spending time with my friends without her. She never outright said I couldn't go, but her sudden silences, mood swings, or conveniently timed emergencies made it hard to leave without feeling bad. She also had a knack for twisting disagreements, so that I ended up as the problem. Anytime I voiced a concern about our relationship, she'd spin it until I felt like I was overreacting or being unreasonable. Over time, I started second-guessing myself, unsure whether my feelings were valid or I was just being difficult. Still, the good moments were so good that I convinced myself the bad ones weren't worth dwelling on. Margaret stayed close with a tight-knit group of college friends, one of whom was Trevor, a guy she'd known since freshman year. He studied architecture and now worked for a sustainable design firm. They kept in frequent contact, and I couldn't shake the unease I felt about him. It wasn't jealousy so much as the way she'd subtly compare me to Trevor during conflicts, how he always listened, how understanding he was. Not outright criticism, but enough to make me feel like I didn't measure up. On a few of Trevor's visits, I suspected something might be going on, but Margaret always had explanations ready, making me feel paranoid for even questioning it. 3 years in, I proposed to her during a mountain getaway. She said yes, tears in her eyes, and we spent the weekend dreaming about our life together. We set a date 8 months away, giving us time to plan without blowing our budget. The engagement was exciting, but also revealed a sharper edge to Margaret's personality. She became more critical, more controlling. She wanted every decision to be hers, but still expected me to act thrilled about each choice. My input was only welcome if it matched hers. Then, 5 months before the wedding, Trevor called with news. Their mutual friend Rachel, whom I'd met a few times, was getting married in California. He'd been invited and wanted Margaret to come as his date. Margaret lit up at the idea, immediately making plans, chattering about seeing old friends, exploring California, and celebrating Rachel's wedding. The way she spoke about it made my stomach twist. She seemed more excited for that trip than for our own wedding. The thought of my fiancé flying across the country to attend a wedding with another man felt wrong. I tried to explain my discomfort carefully, stressing that I respected her friendship with Trevor, but felt this cross a line. Her reaction was sharp and defensive. She accused me of jealousy, controlling behavior, and double standards, bringing up unrelated examples from my own friendships. She refused to acknowledge why the situation might be different. The argument spiraled. She used Trevor as ammunition, saying he never made her feel guilty for having friends and was more secure than I'd ever be. By the end of the night, she made it clear she was going, whether I liked it or not. In the following days, she gave me the silent treatment, made travel arrangements with Trevor, bought a new dress, and shut down any attempt to talk. She started making digs about insecure men and red flags, taking Trevor's calls in front of me, laughing loudly as if to provoke me. A week before the trip, I tried one last time to talk calmly. She listened with an almost bored expression before suggesting I needed therapy for my insecurity issues. That was the end of the conversation. She left on a Saturday morning. I refused to drive her to the airport, so Trevor picked her up. Watching her practically skip to his car felt like a punch to the gut. Over the weekend, she sent a few short, impersonal updates, checking boxes rather than genuinely engaging. Then, on Sunday morning, I saw her social media post, a glamorous photo of herself with the caption, "Men think they own you," #independent. Dozens of likes and comments poured in, many sharing their own stories about controlling partners. She had turned our private disagreement into public humiliation. The more I thought about it, the more I realized she had been building toward this, subtly framing me as controlling so she could play the victim. I didn't reply. Instead, I made my decision. I changed my relationship status to single, messaged family and close friends to say the wedding was off, and began calling vendors to cancel arrangements. I also packed every single one of her belongings into boxes, neatly stacked by the door. When she found out, either through social media or friends, she called repeatedly, leaving voicemails that shifted from confusion to rage to pleading. I didn't answer. My actions spoke for themselves. Margaret returned the day after the wedding she'd attended, only to find the locks changed. She sat outside our door until I came home, demanding to know how I could humiliate her like this. When I asked about her post, she dismissed it as just one little thing and claimed it wasn't even about me. Then she said maybe it was for the best because she needed a man who could handle a strong, independent woman, someone like Trevor. That sealed it. I told her our relationship was over and she needed to find somewhere else to live. She called the police, insisting I'd illegally kicked her out. But when the officers learned I was a sole leaseholder, they told her it was a civil matter. Furious, she accused them of bias and stormed off. Over the next few weeks, she launched a full social media smear campaign, painting me as an emotionally abusive, controlling fiancé. The lies threatened my professional relationships and career. I stayed quiet at first, hoping she'd move on, but she didn't. When I privately asked her to stop, she posted our conversation online, accusing me of trying to silence her. She even added new lies about financial control and threats. That was the final straw. I hired a lawyer. We sent her a cease and desist letter, which she promptly posted online, using it to fuel her victim narrative and fundraise for legal defense. When she refused to comply, we filed a lawsuit for defamation, cyberbullying, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. During discovery, her case unraveled. She had no proof of her claims, while we had a detailed record of her public harassment and testimony from people who knew my character. She tried to settle, but I wanted a formal judgment to clear my name. The trial lasted 3 days. On the stand, she couldn't substantiate a single accusation. The judge ruled in my favor, ordering her to pay $35,000 in damages, remove all false posts, and issue a public retraction. Even then, she refused to take responsibility, claiming the system was silencing her. Looking back, the warning signs had been there all along. Her need to control, her way of turning boundaries into personal attacks, and her habit of weaponizing others in arguments. Love means nothing when it comes with manipulation and disrespect. The legal battle was grueling, but it protected my future. People sometimes ask if I regret how I handled it. I don't. This wasn't about punishing Margaret. It was about refusing to tolerate being demeaned and disrespected. Maybe she'll learn from this one day. But knowing her, I doubt it. As for me, I'm simply grateful for the hard-earned clarity this painful experience gave me.